Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and in this video we're going to be doing a continuation of a previous topic, and this is going to be about the point of no return, part 2. Now Adronis previously talked about the point of no return, and I'm just giving it more of my own particular perspective, and spirit perspective as well too. So, point of no return, part 2. So what was he talking about when he was elaborating regarding to the point of no return? Well, if you haven't seen the video, it was about the end of this year. And that in a summary, it's like many of us are boarding our own trains, our own planes, our own automobiles, and we are going to be driving towards a certain path of momentum. And where we're going after 2020, there's an enormous shift that is going to be taking place. And it's important that we are shedding all of this excess baggage that we no longer require, that no longer serves us, that's no longer in harmony with us, that no longer represents who we are naturally, right? So people clinging on to their jobs, clinging on to old forms of work that are basically on the way out. And that is what's going to be happening. And so there's a little bit more information relating to the point of no return, because Adronis did talk about around this end of this year, leading into 2021, to where this point of no return takes place. So I was able to do a little bit of research on an astrological level, and I confirmed exactly what Adronis said, that this point of no return will officially begin on December 21st, 2020. So astrologically, this is backed up, okay? And what that means is that, if we're summing up, I'm not an astrologist by any means, but just looking into this form to which I was guided, is that Jupiter and Saturn are entering into air. And before that, we were in Earth. And we've been an Earth symbol for quite some time, since about the 1800s. And now we're finally starting to move out of the Earth and coming into an air sign. And so this is again just confirming that what is going to be taking place is a complete and total restructuring of everything. So like I said, I'm not an astrologer, but it just gave me some information to look at in regards to another type of confirmation relating to this point of no return. Now, what does this mean? Of course, in astrological terms, is when you're moving into air, you're looking into great change. And of course, it is of no surprise that we're looking at 2021, we're looking at the numerological significance of the number 5, which is all about change. And so we are moving into this air period. We are moving into Aquarius. Right? Brad, what are you saying? Is this like the age of Aquarius that's happening? Yes, pretty much that's what's happening. We're moving into the benchmark period of entering the age of Aquarius. And it starts at the end of 2020, moving into 2021. And from what I've received from astrological data, it will remain with us until the year 2159. All right? Very exciting time. So this is a colossal shift. This is a colossal change. This is indeed a point of no return, because everything that represents the old systems, while we look at a lot of these old Earth systems, we're looking at fossil fuels, we're looking at coal, we're looking at all of this particular form of debris, energy systems that have harmed the planet, that have harmed us, that have harmed nature, that have harmed the animals. All of this archaic form of technology is going to go. Not right away, but it's certainly on the benchmark of it unfolding. Our own personal changes are going to impact where we're going at the end of 2020, moving into 2021, which means that things are going to change dramatically and quite quickly. Not right away, but very, very quickly. So Earth was all about stability. It was all about foundation that was very, very solid. And now we're moving into air, where everything is going to be about change. Everything is going to shift. Everything is going to move into deeper alignments. So the point of no return is basically stating that for those of us who may be very, very hard to change, feel like we cannot just get up and change right away, you're going to have a little bit of a challenging time. Okay? It's not to say that it's going to be disastrous, but you're going to have a challenging time relating to getting off old ways that no longer serve. Because I've talked to thousands and thousands of people all over the world these past 12 years, doing a lot of inner work with other people. And there are some people that are just so connected to going into these greater states of change, and they have no problem evolving themselves and adapting themselves. And that's really what's going to happen. People who are, again, very much on that kind of earth alignment, who basically have that kind of steadiness and stability and foundation, your walls are going to be knocked down if they are not harmonious. Right? If you have a disharmonious set of walls here, this is your cube, and you're just working to make ends meet. You're working with a boss and maybe you don't like, and it's really just all about the money. You're having financial problems, you're having problems with family, etc. Well, you're going to have a challenging time because, again, if you're not willing to make a change within this cube, right, there's a sad face here. Again, you're going to have some challenging times because everything is going to be falling apart relating to old systems that no longer serve. We're starting to see that now, of course. We're not going to be seeing a repeat of COVID-19 or any of that garbage, right? That is really all that's going to be happening in 2020. When we move into 2021, we're looking at a year that represents pulling out roots. All of those roots within this ground, within this earth that has been here for a couple hundred years, since the 1800s, is now going to start getting pulled out. So really you could look at 2019, 2020, even a couple of years before that we were drilling holes into the ground. These holes were being drilled. These holes were going deep, deep into the ground. And in 2020, we have found a lot of those roots. Why? Because it's the year of exposure, right? We are looking at all of these roots that are kept deep underground, and a lot of them are corrupt. They have been here for a very, very long time. And when we get into 2021, we become groundskeepers, and we are pulling all of those roots there. We're not looking for anything anymore. We've found it. So that's really what the previous years have been about, is getting a shovel, digging the hole in this gigantic garden bed, seeing all these weeds on the surface. And no, if we just start pulling out weeds, they're going to grow back again. We need to dig very, very deep. We need to go into the heart to where these roots exist, and we start yanking them out. We start pulling them out. That's what's going to happen in 2021, okay? And the years following, okay? Pulling out roots, everything. Not just being exposed, but being dealt with, okay? We're not going to be exposing anything anymore when we get into 2021. We're going to be taking action. We're going to be ripping out these roots. So you're going to see everything that is not harmonious, that represents harm to the planet, harm to people, harm to nature, harm to the environment. It's going to be ripped out. Everything is just being ripped right out of the ground. It's a big fist, right? Just ripping it all out, pulling it all out. And so this is going to lead into 2021, which is termed as the year of transition, which means everything dies. Okay? What I mean by that is that systems, old systems, again, that have really governed this world to favor the few, is going to be pulled out. And we're going to be spending a couple of years doing that. 2021, 2022, 2023, right up into 2024. All these roots are going to get pulled out. And there's no more of that old corruption. There's no more of this using of people. There's no more about the idea of lower class or middle class or upper class. Everybody's going to be taken care of. Brad, this sounds too good to be true. What about where I am in the world? Maybe I'm in Australia. Maybe I'm in South Africa. Maybe I'm somewhere in Europe, wherever. Is this all going to happen right away? No. It's a benchmark time. It's like looking at 2012, right? 2012 was the end of time, and we're starting to move ourselves into realizing that we are a part of a multi-dimensional, infinite multiverse, all right? And it's the same thing with this. The benchmark, December 21st, 2020, moving into the year of transition, 2021. Of course, Adronis comes in close to the end of the year and does a prediction video relating to that year, which will happen. But again, this is what the point of no return is to get our affairs in order. We still have a few months before this time comes, at the timing of this video, and we work inside. We do our inner work. We start to realize, are there certain things that we are doing that no longer serve us? We open ourselves up to change. We open ourselves up to expansion. And I know I get hundreds of saying, but, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. Nobody's going to make this change for you, okay? You have to work and just looking at your life and saying, what I'm doing right now sucks. All I'm doing is working for money. All I'm doing is working for a paycheck. Sorry to tell you, those jobs aren't going to last, guys. They're going to be on the way out. Like I said, not right away, but it is going to be a very, very quick shift that's going to take place. There are events in action right now that have basically exposed these roots, year of exposure, and are now going to start ripping them out of the ground. So we're going to see pretty much everything collapse. Everything. And new systems will be put in place. Brad, does this mean education? Yes. Does this mean technology? Yes. Does this mean politics? Yes. Does this mean finances? Yes. Does it mean sociological changes? Yes. Everything. Everything is going to change. Everything is going to shift away. So again, as I've talked about from 2016 up until the point where we are now, 2020, this is the first half of the span of change. Okay? Now we're moving into the second half. Second half of the span of change is going to commemorate actions. We are moving into an air vibration. We're moving into an air alignment, into an air cycle, into Aquarius. All of this is going to be pulled out. Not one root will be missed. Not one root will be ignored. Okay? It's all going to get pulled out. Who's going to pull it out? All of us. All 8 billion people on this planet, in their own way, are going to pull out these roots. So unless you tell 8 billion people, hey, stop that. I want to be part of my earth job where I have to work for a person and I hate my job, I just want to make a paycheck, but hey, stop it. It's not going to happen, okay? This is the cyclic change that's happening. So we can either wallow about it and complain about it, or we can get ourselves in order. We can center ourselves. We move ourselves into where we feel we belong. And to start really looking into your life and saying, what can I do to bring peace, to bring balance, to bring harmony into my life? Because now is the time for you to seriously consider that. It's exactly what Adronis was talking about in the early point of the year. It's exactly what he's been talking about in the years past. I've been talking about it. Many others have been talking about it. We're out of time, guys. We are out of time relating to doing all of this exposure work. It's going to end at the end of the year. Okay? You're not going into exposure anymore. We're not saying, oh, hey, we still got to do a little bit more digging, and then we find these roots. Oh, here they are. No. Come 2021, no more exposure. Transition. Everything dies. Right? So we move into that benchmark of these old systems dying and new things coming together. New systems coming together. Brand new technologies. Technologies that will completely replace all these dirty, disgusting, despicable, corrupt systems, fossil fuels and coal, nuclear power, all of that is going to go. It's going to be ripped out. New leadership is going to come about as well too. Some people will say, well, will Trump still be in the U.S. or still be a U.S. president in 2021? I don't think so. Okay, I do not think either of the candidates will be president in 2021. That's just a feeling. It feels like there is a replacement attempting to come through. I don't know who it's going to be, right? But the feeling is that there is and I've been feeling this for a while, is it feels like there's somebody in the shadows that's going to basically take control of the US presidency in 2021. Okay? Don't quote me on that completely. It's just a feeling I have, but something I feel is going to interrupt the nature of the presidency in that way. Some new surprise is going to happen. Okay? So I don't have all the details on that. It's just a feeling right now. You kind of have to just let things play out before you have much more clarity on what is taking place. But it feels like there's going to be a bowing out. It feels like there's going to be either a stepping down or something like that, because I do feel Trump will win. He'll succeed. But I feel like he may step aside. He may be asked to step down, and somebody else is going to take his place. So that's all I have a feeling of. And don't ask me for more about that, guys. That's all I'm getting. It's just a feeling, okay? It's just a sensing I've had, and I've had it for a while, okay? But wherever you are in the world, yes, new leadership is going to change to significantly complement the age of Aquarius. So as we go into the point of no return, this literally is a point of no return. We're not seeing the old systems. We're not seeing the old paradigm survive this. What about the elitists, Brad? What's happening here? They're done. It's like I've already said, they're finished. They're not a factor anymore. Everything that they're doing right now with COVID-19 and everything is panic. It's panic attacks. It's like looking at an old man on life support, and before he dies, he just gets frantic. He grabs a shotgun and just starts blasting randomly because he knows his time's up. These guys, these elitists, are nothing. They're done. They're finished. They were finished years ago, right? And all they're doing right now is being frantic because they don't want to surrender their power. They're all about greed. These are not just good old chums who won't just bow out and saying, yes, we've been defeated, we bow out gracefully, and that's that. No, these are unbridled psychopaths, okay? And they will create as much chaos as possible relating to their paradigm, their old eras, trying to hold up these pillars that are now just breaking apart, falling apart, crumbling apart at the seams, and they're doing everything to try and catch every little bit of that debris to try and hold up these old paradigms. They're gone, they're done, they're dead. Mandatory vaccinations, dead. It was never going to come to pass in the first place, but it was being presented as a degree of disclosure for 2020. Exposure, okay? You're going to find out exactly what they were trying to do, what they're trying to do, to try and create bait and switch, to try and use the mainstream media, to try and get all their plans out. They're dooming themselves even more. They're just pounding all of these nails into their casket, and we're on that final nail right now. That final nail is just right there, and now the hammer comes down. These guys, these old elitists, will be gone. They will be finished. By 2024, they won't even be a factor anymore. Okay? They're dying. And they're almost dead. So this is exactly what's happening. We're seeing this grand state of exposure because they're being so transparent about their plans. Right? You'd have to be blind and deaf not to notice what it is that they're doing. Right? Or, again, I've talked about this so much over the past several years. And so that's what's happening. All these cracks, all these crevices. Foundation is coming down. Elitists are dying out, right? Their entire empire is falling before their eyes, and they're frantic. And desperate people do desperate things. And that's what we're witnessing. This is the whole COVID situation was a desperate thing. Trying to prevent political power from being shifted away from them and into other people's hands. An alliance, if you will. Okay? So that's done. They're done. They're not a factor. We've beaten them quite a while ago. Okay, and you're just looking at desperation, and everything is just basically playing out an old transition because it's necessary for them to go on mainstream media and announce all these things, that you need to wear masks, that you need to keep 6 feet, that you need to have mandatory vaccinations, that we got to microchip you, that we got to put surveillance here. Not going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen. It's not going to survive the long run, right? It's a little transitional period right now. As we get into 2021, all of that's going to die. All of that's going to transition. So there's going to be probably a lot of great revealing going on. There's going to be a lot of great dismantling taking on behind the scenes, and new things are going to start popping up. It's like, holy crap, this is amazing, right? We never thought something like this would happen. So a lot of bright surprises ahead for us, especially as we move into a 5-year. When we move into 2021, when we go past the point of no return. And so again, our job is to take care of ourselves. Our job is to help others once we start to move more into that state of correction, right? Nobody else is going to come into your life and fix you up. You got to do it. This is why you're here. And whining and complaining about it isn't going to do anything either. Okay? You got to realize that. I've had many, many years where not just me, but many others have said, okay, here's 2008. It's the year I started this whole thing. And I started saying that we got to start cleaning ourselves up. We got to start doing this work. Yeah, I got plenty of time. I'm okay. I'll just go do this and take care of that. And we became complacent. You're at the edge right now here. 2020, December 21st, 2020. You are boarding that train. You are boarding that plane. You are boarding that car. You're getting in and you're driving the momentum of where you feel you want to go. Because you're moving into an air alignment. We're moving into an air cycle. It is the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. Okay? So this is not the harvest. No, this is not the idea of fourth density, but this is the idea of moving more further into that. But it is the benchmark of the age of Aquarius. That's what we're moving into as we start in 2021. So, like I said, you got to look at this cube. Your finances, your family, your career, whatever it is. Is it in harmony with you? No, it's not. It's time for it to go. There's a part of you that needs to die, right? Because that's what's going to happen in 2021. Okay? 2021, roots are being pulled out. Parts of you are going to die. Okay? Systems are going to die. It's a very large time of death. Okay? And that's not meant in a negative connotation. It's letting you know that change is taking place. And you're going to start surpassing boundaries. You're going to see boundaries being stepped over. You're going to see glass shattering. You're going to see illusions being turned off. We're going to see veils opening up. We're going to see new technologies. We're going to see new forms of education. We're going to see, again, people-powered organizations like I talked about, communities, organizations, new forms of working together, helping each other out, new technological breakthroughs, new energy systems, new transportation systems that will come together, moving deeper into internet capabilities. Right? It goes on and on and on. It's an air time. And it may represent much more about the quantum level of reality, of looking more deeper into multidimensional consciousness, of new forms of healing technologies. There's a reason why I'm creating my healing code technology business right now, because I feel that that's going to get a lot of momentum as I go into the end of the year and into next. Right? New technologies are going to shine. There's so much more support when people get their shit together, in the best way I can put it, the nicest way I can put it. You're going to see an incredible time unfold. With many of you who are struggling, who are fighting, who are resisting because your ego says this and your ego says that, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to trip over your own feet. You're going to have rocks fall over you. All right? And that just represents emotional rocks. Okay? Work on yourself. Work on all of this. This is exactly why I've put these videos up on YouTube. These are techniques that can help you. Not just the BCR technique and the TC technique, but also just the ability to work within yourself, to come to your center, to listen to what your greater self wants, because it's not about your lower self, right? If you want to get into that marriage between the lower and the higher self, you got to step out of the lower self. The lower self is too stupid. It's not in charge. Right? It's not going to bring you into liberation. It's not going to save you. It's the very thing that's confining you. It's the very thing that's putting you inside this cube right now. It's the very thing that says, oh, I need to have money. I need to make a living running a paycheck with a job that I hate. Then that job is going to dismantle, right? because you're not looking into creating a solid foundation based upon old ways that do not serve you harmoniously. It is a time to start talking to your greater self. It is a time to go into your center. It is a time to go inwards. It is a time to do inner mending, right? And we don't have a lot of time left, right? I'm not telling you this because I'm making up the rules, guys. This is astrologically confirmed, okay? Astrology is basically the truest natural science there is. It is. When we go into, especially a lot of the ancient astrology, the Vedic astrology, right? It will also tell you about these confirmations. Adronis was always talking about the end of the year, the point of no return. And I've confirmed this astrologically. This is happening. Okay, like I said, I'm not an astrologer, but there's a lot of astrologers here that watch my channel, and they can confirm it as well too. December 21st, 2020. Well, bro, does this mean like there's some type of solar flash coming? No, guys. I have not seen any friggin' solar flashes. Okay, and I've talked about that when I was talking about 2037. There is no sign of any solar flashes in a current level of our momentum as it exists right now. Okay, I've looked into these timelines. Nothing like that is happening. The sun is going to shift, of course. There'll be corona mass ejections. There'll be those. There'll be solar flares, yes, but nothing in regards to a solar flash. I'm just getting a lot of these random questions because I've talked about this subject on Facebook just the other day. And I'm getting people saying, well, what about our educational system? What about South Africa? What about the solar flash? What about, and I'm just getting all these different random questions. I said, well, wherever you are in the world depends on the causes and circumstances of what you're going through. Everything is going to succumb to this. Okay, guys, this is an astrological blueprint that affects the entire planet. Okay, as long as you're on this planet, you're going to be affected by it. Some people may be affected quite quickly. Some others may take a little bit of time. It all depends upon you. There's 8 billion unique souls on this planet. Everybody has their own path. And so I'm not going to spend a 1,000-hour long video talking about every single 8 billion person on this planet. All right, that's not, you can't do that in a video. All right, but it's letting you guys know. This is a video to let you know more about the point of no return, about why it's important right now that we do our inner work, about why it's important that we go inwards, about why it's important that we look into many of the facets of ourselves, personally, professionally, collectively, about what we are experiencing in life. Are we in harmony with it? If not, it's time to change. It's time to let that thing that is disharmonious die and move into something new, right? If you have a hard time changing, then you got to work with this a lot more deeper. If you have an easy time changing, this isn't going to be so difficult for you, okay? But it's up to you. So any of us here are just guides, helpers, assistants, supporters for you. But right now you have to really sit down, get serious about this, and start asking exactly what you want to do in your life. Where do you feel you want to be? Because there is that true calling that is always attempting to get your attention. But you got to get out of this rut that your ego, intellect, brought you into. And you need to start listening to that true voice. You need to listen to the communication existing in the center of yourself. And that is you transcending the point of no return. And you're able to now go with the flow. You're now able to go with the air. Go with where the wind is taking you. Because that's where we're going here at the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. Below you'll see my links to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also go to healingcodecards.com, pick up your own Healing Code Cards body deck. And of course, check out my website at newearthteachings.com. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.